This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome everyone to our ANCAN Blood Cancer Support Group. It's a new month. It's the first day of February. I can't believe it. Time is flying. So I'm Michelle and I'm in Boston and I have chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And let's go around and see if anyone needs time tonight. I need time, but it's for good stuff. Al, for those watching when this goes on Zoom, would you like to tell them a little bit about yourself and
Sure.
time?
Hello, I'm Al Rubalcaba in Tucson, Arizona, and I was diagnosed with polycythemia vera in 2020. And I'm good for tonight, Michelle.
Jim?
Yes, Jim Marshall, Alexandria, Virginia, around the nation's capital here. Interesting times happening here. I am a prostate cancer type who has it within and with the lymph nodes. And I was 2017, and the VA says that I also happen to qualify for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Believe it or not, according to them, essentially any cancer within and with the lymph nodes, they will class as non-Hodgkin's lymphoma also. But I do have a sister with multiple myeloma that she refuses to come, but I come and I happen to listen about it and try to pass things along to her as much as I can. So
You're a good brother, and we're lucky to have you here, as are the veterans for your veterans group. And
the veterans group, I also happen to run a veterans group now that we are starting to grow, and I'm trying to look at trying to meet 2 times a month versus a single time a month.
And just if anyone's listening, when do you meet?
We meet on the 4th Thursday of the month, and we're 8 o'clock.
8 p.m.
Yes, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
In the Barniskis room.
Right, in the Barniskis room. Although the thing that they can do happens to be to contact me at Captain Jim, CAPT Jim at ancan.org, and I can set you up and get you going there.
And you're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh and you're gonna have a good time. I can guarantee it. There's very few things I can guarantee.
Right.
Well, that's really good to know. I wish I had known about that years ago when my mom was still alive and trying to figure out my dad passed his champus. So it's a wonderful thing you're doing. Jerry, could you let everyone know who you are?
I'm Jerry Fertig. I'm from the Metro Detroit area. I have AML. I'm 2 years, 3/4 months into remission after stem cell transplant. And I'm doing relatively well, other than I'm having graft versus host issues, and the winter tends to be brutal for skin. And so I'm having a little bit of a flare up.
All right. So I'd love to come back to you and talk about that and some things that I've been hearing. Barbel.
Hi. My name is Barbel Sullivan-Stitz. I live in Geislingen, that is in Germany. I'm a 7-year CLL survivor of terminal CLL. I had 2 therapies. I was part of the CLL 13 study, and I'm just still recovering from COVID. Although you can see I'm doing a lot better than I did last time. So that's what I'm really happy about. I had blood work. Well, I can talk about that later.
All right. So we're an international group, which I love. And, yeah, I can't wait to hear about your COVID experience. Well, so Al, I don't know if you have a picture that you can call up and show everyone. I can always try to get it up on the screen. I had the wonderful opportunity to meet Al and Rick Davis in person about a week and a half ago. It was so terrific. I had met Rick before in person, but getting to see him again and Al in person, it's like I always knew you, Al. I'm going to try to find the picture here so I can show everyone of when we met. I was going to post it for the meeting tonight, but then I thought, no, I should save it for something else as a post. So let me see here. They came and I shouldn't say rescue. They came and picked me up where I was staying for a conference. Okay, I'm trying to open it up here so that I can make it bigger. And anyway, I was in Tucson and I did not know, why is this not working, of course? I did not know that Tucson was as big as it is until Al told me it took them an hour to get to where I was. Now, I don't know if you can all see, here we are, proof that we all got together in person. And I know that Alexa also got to be with them in person a year ago when she attended the same conference called Escape to Thrive. Whoops. A leadership conference for leaders in the cancer area. And it was just fabulous. And it didn't hurt that it was at Miraval Spa.
I think Andrew was there too, wasn't he?
He was one of my classmates. There were less than 50, oh, there it is, less than 50 of us that were chosen to go. So it was very exciting. So I'll be posting more about that, but it's just something, it's a fabulous experience, but it started out on a great foot, and then I got to meet Al and Rick and see them and spend time with them. So it was just heartwarming. And then the conference was truly transformative. It was just everyone who's doing advocacy, and the curriculum was great. It was to recharge us and teach us partially about self-care, because as we're always giving, sometimes you kind of get worn out and don't take care of yourself. So, but it also had best practices and talked about a lot of tough things, things that are tough to talk about as patients, and gave us resources to bring in to talk about some of these things. And, you know, it was everything from mental health for patients all around, to sex and intimacy, to diversity, you know, equality and inclusion, and statistics that, you know, there were some that were really eye-opening from different groups in the US, including Native Americans. I was really surprised about their lack of health care, as well as some of them don't even know what cancer is, and they have such a lack of health care. There's some are going back to tribal ways and treating things because there is such a lack of health care, which I did not, I mean, I knew it was bad, but I didn't know the statistics were as bad as they are. So
it was clear to me, and I live in Germany, that because I think most of the CLL patients are forgotten. The ones that we get here in the support groups, they're usually well cared for. They have a medium income. Sometimes they get funds, so they won't have no copay or so, but there are many who live maybe in rural areas who don't have access to treatments, are not cared very well for, and they don't have the finances to live a good life. And I think a lot of the CLL patients are actually forgotten.
So this was across all cancers, but yes, that's certainly the conference that I attended was all cancers, but yes, because as you on some of the groups, the social media groups, you see that, and that the treatments are archaic. But yes, Barbella, it's far different here when it comes to that than other countries.
I have contact to all the patients, you know, and so I know their disease courses and where they live and how they're cared for. So I have a little bit of a different view because I see them for many years. I know their disease courses. The doctors don't see that. They only see them like a few days, and then they're gone again.
It's a whole different thing when it comes to that.
It's completely different. It's completely different. You find out if they have second cancers, if they have other health issues. That's things that normally are not registered anywhere. You know, you only get that when you talk to the individual persons, how they are doing after their treatment and why they are in treatment. They started a program at MD Anderson, which I think is really good, online nurse. That is that an online nurse can be reached when people are off. They don't stay in the hospital a lot of times. They stay in hotels or in rented apartments, and that is really a problem. And I had some patients who died in their apartments. And if they have access to a video nurse that they can call and ask, you know, then I think this will be a great help. I think this is a great program that you're starting there.
That is. I had heard about that, and I do think it's a wonderful thing. And it was probably born out of the telehealth during COVID, right? And that it worked. But anyway, Rick, your ears must have been burning. Al and I were showing pictures to everyone.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I
We
know.
did have pictures. We did have pictures. I was just writing you a note, but you can tell everybody. How was the conference? Worthwhile? Good, bad, indifferent?
Fabulous.
Oh, fabulous. Okay.
It was
good.
You know, part of it is the curriculum, and part of it was the people as well. You know, when you get certain people out together, the energy together, and plus your Arizona setting and air. You know, that in itself is healing, I think. And the lure of the mountains, as I said to Al, they were calling me, and I was shocked. You know, I was like, wow.
I know, we know, but tell me, did it stop raining for you?
The last night, the moon, we had the full moon. It was a little drizzly, but it didn't matter because of the full moon, and they had an outside drumming event, which was really cool. And then the day, of course, we're leaving, the sun came out, and I left at 10 a.m.
Also, keep in mind, it doesn't hurt that Michele had chef prepared meals every meal too.
Oh, my
Didn't
God.
hurt.
No, the food was wonderful. And you know what's funny is I was like, I'm going to gain weight, but I didn't. I think if anything, I lost weight because it was all so healthy and small portions, right? And so good.
Well, I have to tell you, it's been 77 degrees here the last 2 days, but it's going to get cooler again, right, Al?
Yeah, so everyone here, I went to Arizona thinking this is a great break from the Northeast. And it was rainy and cold. I had to wear my winter coat at night. I was just like, why? What's going on here? Something's up.
Yeah, she arrives in a sleeveless, we pick her up, she's got this sleeveless dress like it's July, you know?
I know, I was planning for warm weather. But thank goodness I packed layers. So anyway, so Jerry, you said your graft versus host disease is flaring. And you said, is that this winter? Did you?
They're dropping me off of Jacoby, so I'm going down. So I was feeling pretty decent for about maybe 3 weeks, and I was going to drop it again, and I didn't drop it again because back it's predominantly back itching, so it's heat related, and you know I gotta use this kind of crap on my chair. The Thailand taxi cab driver beads.
Now, what does that do?
What it does is it prevents it aerates the back, because the problem is I wear thicker stuff because I'm cold, but yet sitting against my back and you wear fabric and everything, it aggravates it. The heat does. And so what this does is this gives it a little bit of a buffer versus sitting on a leather chair, and it helps. It's a pain in the ass, but I mean it is what it is. I was hoping to get off the meds, but it ain't happening for probably until spring or summer.
I remember you mentioning that that you were titrating down on it. which was
Yeah.
wonderful. Does it give you any side effects being on it?
No, it's just I'd like to get out, start getting out in the world again. Being immunocompromised with COVID and all the other stuff, because I've been a couple other groups where people got it and they're really messed up. I mean, heart, lung, all that stuff. It's freaky. But no, that's predominantly why I'd like to get off it. So then I'm not immunocompromised anymore.
I definitely took risks by going to this conference and by going to ASH. And I'm sure you can appreciate this, and anyone else who has been like isolating. I think I'd be insane if I hadn't done that. But I mean, I wore a mask, but no one else did.
Yep.
And, you know, of course, what we consider some risky, like people having colds, people are back to not thinking that's anything.
Mm-hmm. And I had friends that had it, and it just came and went, and it was a piece of cake and everything. But as I said, I don't want to do it. And so, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a shirt that says, "What?" Because I wear my mask everywhere, and they look at me with disdain. I'm going to get a shirt that says, "I'm not a Democrat," and then on the back of it, I have cancer.
People do assume. It is interesting. They do. It's become political now. As you know, yeah, you don't want to mess around without immunity. As you know, I had COVID for 6 weeks and had 7 days with remdesivir at the hospital, and then over 30 days I counted of Paxlovid when you counted it all. So yeah, you don't want to mess around with this stuff when you have no immunity.
You know what is really strange? I had many people offer help, but they didn't want to. They all say, you know, it's nothing. COVID is just like flu, and it's so easy. But they don't want to come near you. So actually, that's biased. You know, why are they afraid then if they think it's not dangerous?
So
I used to have a cough app on my phone.
What?
I used to have a cough app when people would come back and get too close to me, and it would start coughing, and people would jump back and move back because they're on your ass in the grocery. Like, I'm wearing a mask, and I'm sitting there going, "Well, what do you think? Why do you think I'm wearing a mask? So you can climb up my ass and check out." So if you start hacking,
you should ask Miss Alexa about being immune compromised.
Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
I had the flu. I had influenza A. It was horrible. Actually, one of my AML friends had it just like I did too. It's just tough.
I mean, it was bad.
It was bad.
She's underplaying it a little bit. Should have been in the hospital, but they didn't have enough. They didn't have enough ventilators, so she wasn't in as bad a need as others.
Alexa.
I mean,
yeah, I had a 105 fever. This particular flu is not in the flu vaccine, the particular strain that I had. I do know, like I said, when my AML friend, she had the same type that I did, really high fever, really bad body pains. And I was out of AMCAN for at least 2 weeks, like 2.5 weeks. So it was tough.
That's why I don't go anywhere.
Are you masking?
Yes, and actually I had been at home all week. It was somehow I got it from somebody who got it, they brought it home.
Are you immune compromised, Alexa?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's why it was so bad.
Yes.
Now, Barbell, how long did you have COVID? Was it?
Oh, for a long time. I started in November. It was getting a little better in December, but I was still very weak. I could not go outside, nothing. But now I can drive again. But I still feel it. They say it takes between 4 and 6 months to get back to your normal strength. So I'm a little past the 3rd month, so I'm doing pretty good.
And remind me, you didn't get Paxlovid, right?
No, because my GP doesn't prescribe it, and the insurance says they only had one patient get Paxlovid, so it's not used by many. they say it has other side effects. So they don't really use it.
In Germany.
Yeah, it's strange, because for the immune compromised, it would be good, because then it doesn't take as long. But maybe
Yep.
it strengthens my immune system. Who knows?
I know, and and who knows if it's going to help protect. I mean, it's only for, I want to say 60 to 90 days after that you can't get the vaccine. But I don't know how long. It depends on the strain, right, that you had. I don't know what strain I had. Do you?
They don't test that anymore. They know what strains are there from the wastewater analysis that they do. But when you get sick, they don't test it anymore. So you don't know which strain you got.
I know. So you don't know if whatever's predominant, if that's what you had, which is too bad. But
You can even get several strains at the same time.
Yeah, maybe. And maybe that's why you had it for so long and I did. But yeah, that is interesting how long it takes to get over it, because I thought I'd be all better. And it did take me a while. And I have to say, now that you're saying that, it did take me a few months afterwards to get back to feeling.
Well, they say it impairs the immune system additionally. I read an article which said NK cells are diminished. The T cells, obviously not. B cells anyway have a problem. So I think this is also a reason why it takes longer.
Well, I still have, I feel like, congestion from it. And I've heard that from others as well, that the congestion will last.
Congested, but not much.
Now, has anyone else here had COVID? Jerry, I know you haven't. Jim, you had it. Al?
Mm-hmm.
And how, Jim, for you, did it hit you badly?
It hit me one day. It was not too good. On the second day, I was recovering, and the third day, it was gone. So it wasn't bad.
Wow. It's because you're a tough military man.
Well, it depends also on the amount of viruses that you get. When you only had a few, maybe
Right, it's virus load.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's virus load.
And Al, what about you?
Yeah, I had just like a minor cold. Had I not tested it for it, I wouldn't have known that I had COVID. But I got an uncle that had COVID about a year ago, and just back a couple months, he's had this cough that he can't get rid of. And I hear a lot of these people that have gotten this flu have this cough. And so he's now on an oxygen tank, and they're telling him it's long-term COVID.
Oh, my word.
when it goes past 12 weeks, they talk about long COVID.
Yeah, I've had several friends that have had it long, months.
Really? And were they, I mean, did they have anything wrong with them to begin with?
No, they just wanted to live like, live and not worry.
Well, it actually means that the body doesn't clear the RNA virus at all. It stays in the body and causes issues. That's the long COVID.
Long COVID. Yeah, mine was wait a minute, am I saying this right? Protracted, I believe is the word that was associated, because it lasted longer than a couple of weeks, but it wasn't long COVID and it wasn't prolonged. So they have all these things.
They probably stopped too early with your Paxlovid.
They did.
Because you did feel better, like you said, after 5 days, and then you kind of relapsed, and the second time the same.
The second time was worse. Yes. Good memory. Yes, they should have just, and
continued maybe for 10 days or so. That's what they're testing now too.
Yeah, they're learning with all this, right? I mean, because it's all so new.
Well, I mean, we have COVID for quite a while already. They could have known by now.
I know. They just gave the standard course. Plus, everyone, I mean, assumes, and I guess, I mean, in many ways, I have CLL, but I'm healthy, right? And they look at me and they think, oh, you're really healthy. So.
You had opinutuzumab, that's why, probably.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it was within a month of going off it for being on it for 6 months. So it is. And they won't prescribe
Cells
it.
are still very depleted.
Yeah. And it will be still for quite a while. But they're saying, so I know that in everywhere, there's nothing consistent I've seen. MD Anderson will prescribe, I just heard from another CLL patient, they will prescribe Paxlovid if you've been exposed but still haven't tested positive. Dana-Farber, where I go, and Mass General, which is my primary care, will not prescribe it until you test positive, even if you're showing symptoms and even if you've been exposed. So it's not consistent across the board here, which, I mean, it is, I guess, up to every doctor what they choose to do. But, you know,
Well, I mean, they have to start at least within the first 5 days once you test positive.
right, once you test positive.
Actually, I think the important thing is the duration of the treatment. When you're very much immune compromised, I think you need a longer intake of Paxlovid. But they could have known, I mean, Paxlovid is on the market since last year, I think. I think even before, I think it was issued in 2022 already, end of 2022. They could have known by now.
Now, I am curious about this. So we know, Jerry, we know you're immunocompromised, but that's from your met from Jakafi?
Yeah.
Okay. And would you be immune compromised if you weren't on it?
I would not be.
Al, does PV make you immunocompromised or the meds?
I think it depends on the medication. And Jakafi, Ashley was on Jakafi, and so I'm on hydroxyurea. It's the first med they'll give to people dealing with MPNs or ET or PV. If that doesn't work, then they go to Jakafi. But they always start people out with, and then now what I'm finding out is the younger generations, they're being treated with the interferons, which are the injectables, Pegasus and Bisremi. So it's pretty interesting, but.
You're on top of it there on all these treatments.
I'm actually on the lowest dosage of Jakafi, though. I mean, I'm on like child's dosage, and it's every other day now. So it's only 5 milligrams every other day, and you really can't go. You know, I was trying to go 2 days off, 1 day on, and try to do it that way. But I'll wait till spring or whatever.
So on that lower dosage, are you less immunocompromised? And as if you were on like what you were on before on
Just treat
dosage?
it like I am. I'm still, because my doctor still. The deal is I have to go for a treatment called pentanamine for your lungs. So it's only for stem cell transplant people and HIV people. And what it does is it prevents you from getting pneumonia and everything. And I have to go every month to have that treatment. It's every 4 weeks. And I figured as long as I'm going through that treatment, I'm immunocompromised because it's a very specific, you know, they put a big fan in, everybody leaves the room. Oh, yeah.
That makes you feel good.
Yeah. But it really does. It prevents pneumonia. But yeah. So I figure as long as I've got to do that, I'm immunocompromised.
And will you have to continue that once you stop?
No. Once I get off the Jakafi, that stuff stops. It all goes away. And so that's why I've been really trying to grind down on it. Because I'll have, you know, I go off of it, and then within maybe 4 weeks, it starts ramping up, acting up, and then it calms down, and then we drop it again every like 6 months.
So Jerry, how long have you been on Jakafi now?
Probably 2 years.
And have you gone back to work at all? I don't mean inside, but virtually, are you working?
I'm not working. I came back and I said I'm done. I could hit Medicare. I could hit Medicare and everything. So I just said, bah, I'm done.
You've been through a lot.
Yeah,
You know.
it's I look at, you know, you don't know how much time you have. So I come back and say to myself, do I really want to do this? It used to be fun. I used to love it. Not anymore. So the deal is I want to do other stuff. And so, yeah, I said, that's it. And I'm glad I did. I'm sleeping 8 hours a night. It's
Not stressing.
it's good. Minimal stress. Other than I had a migraine today, weather migraine. I don't know if any of you guys get migraines or by the weather. So we get big weather changes. I'll get a migraine.
Barometric pressure drops.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Always, ever since I was young.
Well,
So I just want to say hello to Mary Lou. I haven't seen her for ages. Hello, Mary Lou.
but we
How
don't
are
see
you?
her.
No, we can't hear her either. She's muted.
No. I'm gonna duck out and go over to the other group, but I just wanted to be sure to say hi to everybody, and I'll talk to you all soon.
All right, take it easy, Rick.
And bye.
Bye.
Mary
Bye.
Lou, are you there?
She would have to unmute.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm new.
So
Well,
how are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah.
Did you have anything that you wanted to talk about tonight?
No, I just wanted to listen. I'm newly diagnosed with MDS. I'm seeing a stem cell transplant doctor on next Thursday at Dana-Farber.
Oh,
So I just wanted to hear what people have to say. This is new to me, so it's, I don't even know what questions to ask, but I have my book here. I'm writing questions down.
so yeah, MDS, there have been some new, I've reported on some new, there was a lot of news ASH 2022, a little more than a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
on some treatments that have come out, but I'm trying to remember if they were frontline or if it was it was once you're relapsed or refractory.
Yeah, I think it was for relapse. Yeah, yeah.
So
So,
Dana-Farber is a great place.
yes.
Um,
Yeah, I'm from Western Massachusetts, so it's a little haul for me, but it's well worth it.
it is. How long does it take you to get there? Or,
About an hour and 20 minutes. It's just that, go ahead.
I was just going to say, as long, if you can somehow, and maybe you already have booked it so that you're not going during rush hour in the morning, it
Yeah,
helps.
it seems like this appointment is going to be late, so we're going to miss, but we'll go to dinner somewhere and then we'll just head home after. So, you know.
How did you find out you have MDS?
Actually, I found out from a routine blood test for my 6-month follow-up in August. All my blood counts were down, and I also have MGUS. So they referred me to a hematologist, and he was focused in on the MGUS part of it. And I had the bone marrow biopsy done, and it came back that I still just had MGUS. But something in me was telling me I need to see a specialist. So I went to Dana-Farber and saw a myeloma specialist, and he ran buku tests on me, blood tests, things I've never even heard of. And he called me the day before New Year's Eve and told me that my anemia was not caused by MGUS, that I needed to see a leukemia specialist. So January 19th, I saw a leukemia specialist, and he told me I had MDS, which I knew ahead of time because of that wonderful portal that we can look through. So you kind of look and see what you have, and he said my only option is a stem cell transplant. So, and they do it outpatient.
Wow.
They do it outpatient, yes. So I'd have to relocate and stay near the hospital for 2 to 3 months.
Oh, so
Because
you'd
I
be
have to,
right there, basically very close by, within a couple of blocks, I think that hotel is, right?
I don't know, what is it? Because I don't even know.
Unless, some people, I think if they have family or whatever, but I believe it's too bad Lynn isn't here tonight. She stayed there. I believe it's like same street down the street in a it just, maybe I'm trying to think of my mind's eye. I want to say it's
Yeah.
maybe 4 or 5 blocks down.
Is it the Longwood Inn?
It could be. That rings a bell.
Yeah.
That rings a
Okay.
bell. It could be that, but when you go in on the first floor, where the first, when you come up the garage to the first floor, there is a
Right.
patient services department.
Mm-hmm.
They can tell you all that information,
Okay.
and
Okay.
they have all that kind of information, as well as anything else in the area, as well as, I also have heard, I haven't done this, that in the summer they'll give you Red Sox tickets if they have them, or and Pops tickets. I forgot all about this until right now, because I know that is where you go to find out about things like this, and where to stay, and they have a very deep discount there where for things like this.
Okay. Yeah.
And also, I think for some programs, they even have a parking program.
Oh,
That,
really?
yes, and I didn't know that when I was on a clinical trial, and also when I was going in all the time. But I believe if you're in so many times, if it's planned you're going to be in there so many times a month, there's some kind of parking program they give you as well. So
Okay.
it's worth asking. Now, who's
Yeah.
your doctor?
My leukemia doctor is Dr. Verdula,
So
and this doctor is Dr. Kirk Hill. The transplant doctor I'm seeing is Dr. Kirk Hill.
oh my gosh, you have like a cast there, because you also have your myeloma doctor.
I have yes. Yes. Yeah, Dr. Sperling.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Dr. Did you say Verdulo?
Verdulo. Yeah.
Verdulo. So he is actually probably more an MDS specialist, right?
No, Dr. Verdula is yes, he's the MDS specialist. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now you're having stem cell. Jerry, did you have you had a different kind of transplant?
Yeah, they came back and they used I went through 2 rounds, two separate things of chemo. So you go through the traditional chemo, and then you go through a bone marrow stripping chemo.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they do, then they infuse you with 1 billion plus stem cells. And I had a non-related donor,
Me too.
essentially
Allogeneic.
allogeneic.
Yeah.
And so they gave me actually the DNA of a 22-year-old girl from Norway or Sweden.
That's what
Is it?
I'm hoping for. An 18-year-old.
Honestly, I haven't felt better. I know why Tiger Woods did this.
Are you making this up, Jerry? I've always wondered.
But
Is that
really, with the stem cell stuff, the only problem now is I cry all the time, and I cry at movies. I'm starting to like women's shoe colors.
you want to go shopping all the time?
One other thing, I remember when I went and fractured my hip, and they brought me into a separate hospital, didn't have the records that I was going through and everything, and they said, "Wait a minute here," because I was showing female.
Oh,
Oh.
And they looked
Oh.
at me, and I said, "Hey, good job, huh?" You know?
so wait, so
Interesting.
your DNA shows up?
Yeah, I don't anthropomorphic. I don't know.
Very
I start
interesting.
liking. I'm going to Cure concerts now. No, I'm kidding.
Jerry, how long ago was that you had your stem cell?
2 year. It'll be actually this July. It'll be my 3rd year out of it.
Your third year?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you I can't remember if you were on with us at the beginning. Jerry has a different blood cancer, but stem cell transplants are used for various
Yeah.
cancers.
Mary, are they going to take them from you, or are they getting them from a
No, a
relative?
donor. A
Okay. All right.
donor.
So you go through the same thing I did, and so
Yeah.
you go through the chemotherapy. You'll go through there'll be 2 different types of chemotherapy.
Well, the way they are doing it for me, it's what he explained, but I'll find out more next Thursday, is 4 days of chemotherapy. The 5th day I rest, and the 6th day I get my stem cells.
Wow, that's great.
So that's what he was saying. It's going to be a full day of chemo for 4 days, and then I get, a day of rest, which
Yeah,
I'll probably need.
I was in for almost 28 days for
Yeah.
mine, first round.
It-
And that was before going to Beaumont, where I got the first round to get ready for the fix and to get ready.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I need to
And your
talk to them about that because, like I said, it's going to be outpatient. So I'm going to come in, have my chemo, go back to wherever I'm staying, and do that for 4 days, and then after I have the stem cell transplant, if I don't have any reactions or anything, I'm dismissed the next day.
Really?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
stay close by?
Yeah. And stay nearby, and I have to come in every day.
How long do you have to go in every day after that day of stem
The
cells?
first, he said 2 weeks every day, and then if I'm doing well, it'll be 3 times a week for 2 weeks, and then it'll be 2 times a week for 2 weeks. And once it gets to that point where it's 2 times a week, I'll go back home to Western Mass and just drive in the 2 days.
So 2 weeks daily. Do you
2
stay
weeks daily.
overnight? You stay overnight the day you get your stem cell transplant?
Yes. And then you go home the next day, you're released. If everything's fine.
That's kind of,
I don't know what to expect, so I know everybody's different.
Jerry, did you stay over for a long time after you got yours?
Yeah, 25 days
Mm,
You
in
stayed
the
in
hospital.
inpatient.
In the hospital, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
They
not
didn't know.
not everybody's eligible for the outpatient, but he said I would be, so.
You know,
You're lucky.
Sally,
That's great. That's fantastic.
I
Mm,
know. I
That's
wish
great.
Sally was here because she's had also an allogeneic stem cell transplant. And I can't recall if she stayed or not, but I know some other people are doing what they proposed to Mary Lou.
yeah.
So I guess this is more the new way, which
Yeah, I
is,
guess he said that they find that people feel more comfortable going home to, well, in my case, it won't be a house, but going back to their house and, being with their partner because my husband has to stay with me 24/7, you know.
and they
Mm.
want you close by.
Yeah, close by. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Too
Yeah,
bad.
so it'll be a journey.
Yeah, that will be. Will you please, will you please let us know you're going, you said when? Your
Next
next,
Thursday to see the transplant doctor, and then we'll go from there. And I'm sure there's a lot of testing beforehand that I'm going to have to do.
so do you still have MGUS or was that a misdiagnosis?
No, I still have MGUS, but he said that will be gone once I get the transplant. He said that'll be gone.
So you're killing two birds with one
Yeah,
stone, baby.
that's what I said, is double hitter.
Wow. And
Yeah,
this get rid of, is that just can it come back, your MGUS, as myeloma can?
that's a question I have written down, you know. But right now, he said that's not the issue. So, you know, so
Yeah, what
we'll
ends up
see.
happening is your stem cells end up, so you get new stem cells and everything, but the stem cells end up wearing out as it does with everybody.
Really?
So yeah, when those stem cells start to wear, get down and shorter, um, that's when it could come back.
Oh,
So it's kind of the your stem cells, and you have
oh.
to like fight them.
Well, that's a question I'm going to ask.
And so I always look at it as extension of till the next thing comes out, just in
Yeah,
case, right?
yeah. Okay,
Maybe
that's a
it's,
good question.
perhaps maybe it's different for MDS or in this situation. You'll have to let us know. Will you come back and let us know next month?
Yes, I will. I will. And I'm on kicking heels, kicking cancer and heels too. I'm on
I
that
thought
side as well.
I thought so.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting in that with CLL, they used to do bone marrow transplants, but they don't any longer. And I have actually met some people who in the past had gotten transplants, but it's just something, and Barbell, perhaps you know the history of that. I don't, if it wasn't as effective as they thought. I do know for what Barbell and I have, it wasn't a high, I mean, it was maybe only a 40% success rate.
Has to do with the T cells because they are exhausted and they have to manufacture the T cells. And that is a big problem sometimes also in other diseases, because if the T cells don't have a good quality, they cannot even make them.
Well, I know that's with CAR T. Is that the same then you're saying with stem cell?
Well,
Yeah,
stem cells depends, you know, because also on the donor, because they also have changes in their genes.
I know, Mary Lou, I hope you get a really young, healthy one. I wonder, now, Sherry, did you tell us this, or was it someone else who maybe told me this, that they swear their eye color change after a stem cell
Oh,
transplant?
I didn't. I just had the crying thing and the shoes.
I know, Mary Lou, do you get to pick out in a book like this one?
Wouldn't that be nice? Yes. Yeah. He did say, being of European descent, that they will have a lot of people that match. I don't know
Yeah,
why that is.
they do two things. If they match you, they come back. You go in the the marrow donating or stem cell donating database if you're in the military. So you're automatically in there. And then what they do is they actually give you insurance benefits or credits towards your insurance and what you have to pay if you become a donor as
Oh,
well.
really?
And I don't
Oh,
know why they don't do that here.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Incentivize it, and you'll have so much. Particularly for I did the DNA test, and they came back, and the thing was like they show you the world of colors, where I'm part Egyptian and I'm part this, and I'm like the blue solid circle
And what's
of
that?
nothing, just solid blue. But that's all Northern Europe, and since they're very into the donor stuff, it was an easy hit. And then they just
Wow.
picked the youngest one.
That's what I want.
It was a 10-point match. I mean, it's a perfect match.
Was it a 10? I was
And
going to ask you, yeah, what the match was. 10 points.
yeah,
That's
10
great.
points.
No, it doesn't
I
matter,
actually had
male.
two, but they took the younger of the two.
So
Yeah.
younger is better, as you would have, as
Always.
we're guessing. Okay, and it doesn't matter then
When it
male
comes
or
to stem cells, that is.
thanks. So it doesn't matter then male or female, because in CAR T they claim the male, it's better to have males for CAR T transplants.
Yeah, but they came back and told me I'm better to have female than
Well,
what
that's
I
a
went.
different transplant though.
And that's and I found that interesting because I don't know why, but
So it's got to be the different types of transplant. I mean, the different types of therapy, because CAR T is far different than
yes,
stem
correct.
cell. So
Right.
interesting. Wow. So for CAR T, they say, think of it as like the universal donor type of thing, being men. But maybe for stem cell, and now I have to look this up, if that is the case, if it's female. Huh. I know, I wish that
Interesting.
Sally was here because she'd be able to answer these things probably,
I know.
since she's had one. Alexa, do you know the answer to this?
I do not actually.
I don't either. I never thought of it this way. I only heard that young people sometimes, the stem cells don't have the same quality. Sometimes, not always.
How young though would that be? You know,
They have more changes in their stem cells than older ones. They found out there's a study, but that's of course a general. A study is always a statistical thing, and it doesn't necessarily apply to the individual.
and is that good? That would be a bad thing then, the changes?
That's not so good, of course, but
And is young meaning
important is that it's a good match. So that, I mean, it has to start growing in your body. If the body rejects it, that's kind of a bad thing. But I think what also plays a role, what kind of previous treatments did you have and how your immune system is. I had a patient who was treated several times, had CAR T and everything, and then at the end they did a stem cell transplant, and the body couldn't take it anymore, and she got Graves' host disease and C. diff, and she died shortly after, even though the cells themselves still start growing.
But she
So
so much. That's come a long way, though, from what I understand, CAR T, but it's still not what they thought it would be. Well, for some it is. For some people, they haven't needed treatment again, but that's CAR T. Mary Lou, I'm going to research some of the things, the latest on MDS. Did you look up this last ASH to see if anything was reported or
Oops,
not?
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, on MDS. So, as you know, Google is not a good place to go.
I know.
But
I think they have a medication which enhances the growth of erythrocytes, luspatercept, I can't remember the name, which is a fairly new drug now, and it's supposed to work good. Before it was
I could.
luspatercept or something. We had somebody on the call who got it.
I think venetoclax also may be being used, except Mary Lou, you're going to a great place.
Yes.
And you have a specialist, whereas, not everyone has that advantage to already being seen by someone who specializes in the cancer.
It's important, I think. This is very important because they have to know what they're doing.
Yes. Yeah. And I referred myself, to be honest with you, because I just didn't feel comfortable with the oncologist I was with, oncologist I was with, because I don't think he sees that. I think he sees more primary care. He does more primary care than he does hematology, oncology. So I felt better going.
We have the problem here too with GPs. My GP says, I have no idea about your disease. You have to explain it to me.
Oh, geez.
That's
Same for
scary.
mine. Same thing.
That's
Same
amazing
thing.
they did that. Mine goes in front of me, goes on Google. I try to explain, and then I try to explain that
everything. There are over 100 different lymphomas. I mean, you cannot specialize in everything. It's not possible.
Right.
Yeah. So Mary Lou, you already self-advocated, and that's what we want. That's so great. Now, so the new drug is, if you want to ask about it.
Yeah.
For relapse, though. Yeah, it's for relapse or
It's for
refractory.
relapse. Yeah.
Tibbs, this might be what you were thinking of, Barbell. Tibsovo. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Tibsovo?
It's Tibsovo or Ivosid.
Yeah, that's what I was on. It was an IDH1 inhibitor.
Say that again.
I was on Tibsovo. It was an IDH1 inhibitor.
It is.
And that's the thing. Actually, that put me into remission. I mean, what they did was once they killed off everything to prevent it from growing back, that thing suppressed it. So when I was going through the chemo and everything, this was the first time that they did dual therapy of this IDH inhibitor and my chemo, because they came back. I said, well, should I stop? No, they said, we're going to just continue to take it. They said, continue to take it. And that was the drug that was like $45,000 a month.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
A month.
Wow. Do you have good insurance, Mary Lou?
No, Medicare. I don't know how good that is.
So what you're going to have to do is there's a group, and what you're going to want to do is if they put you on that, you're going to want to get drug help. So you're going to have to go to the drug company, because Medicare, they can't give you the $5 copays and all that. They're going to stick.
Well,
depends what plan she's on too.
Yeah, Mary Lou, have a supplemental plan?
Yes, Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah, that's why I'm on the same thing. Same deal. But the deal is this is such a special, there's only 800 people on this thing globally a year because it's an orphan drug designation, but it's very, very effective.
Let's see what they
It was
say.
rated one of the top five, in the top 10 of the most expensive. The only thing that was more than that was a drug that they treated for progeria,
Oh,
was
Well,
more per month.
let's not scare Mary Lou yet.
no.
Well, no, I'm just, I
Tell
wish somebody would have told me too.
Let's
You know
not
what I
scare
mean?
her yet.
No, don't.
But Mary Lou, so you're going next week, and then they'll tell you. Another question is, what are the chemotherapies or therapy they're putting you on? The
Yes,
names.
that's what. Yeah, it's a reduced intensity stem cell transplant, so it's reduced chemo. So what the goal is to kill most of the cancer cells, and then when they give you the stem cell transplant, the white blood cells are supposed to kill off the rest.
Finish them off, yeah.
Yeah, finish them off. Yeah.
And that'll be forever. I mean, they'll be finishing them off because they can hunt again.
Yeah.
It's like giving Indians horses.
So, yeah, Mary Lou, there are so many different types of chemo too. So at least you can know that. Stay away from Google if you can, unless it's like somewhere like the newest of studies, because things are always changing. And if it's something that you see from a reputable source and recent, that's the only
Recent. Yes.
because if it's something from 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, today is very different.
Yeah. I was making myself crazy because I've known. Oh, I'm sorry. I was making myself crazy because I'd known about this since August that something's been wrong. So I've been doing a lot of Googling, and I was self-diagnosing myself. That's what I was doing. So once I got the diagnosis, even though it wasn't what I wanted to hear, I was a little more relieved because now I had a diagnosis and a plan. Once I had the plan, it's like, okay, you need that plan.
There are probably differences also in the kinds of diseases, just like in CLL, not every MDS is the same. That's what
Yes. Yeah. I do have mutated genes, unfortunately, but I have low blast and my blood counts are low, but they're not critically low. So one day at a time.
What are the two mutations? Do you happen to know?
I do.
You're a good patient.
Yeah. It's AX. It's not a good one. I forgot the initials. AXLI, I think it is. I got my notes right here as I'm strolling in the bedroom.
I'm impressed.
I have two tattoos, but he said those are not concerning. So, yes, I have all my stuff. Okay. I have. Of course I do. Yeah. ASXLI. I have CBL, U2AF1, and TET2, which he said is not concerning.
Sounds like you're a space rocket about to take off to AF.
Yeah. Yeah. And those he said are made over time. As we get older, they just mutate over time. So I do unfortunately have Lynch syndrome as well, which is something that's in my genes. That is not going to go away. Yeah.
Even when you get a stem cell transplant?
Yeah. He said that will not go away. That will stay there. So,
Mary Lou, did you already have your diagnosis of Lynch syndrome before you're diagnosed with this?
Yes. Yeah. 2015, I got the diagnosis of Lynch.
Wow, you've been an incredible advocate for yourself.
I'm telling you.
Really. I mean, you know all these things. Most people, when they're recently diagnosed, don't know. I mean, I didn't know. I wouldn't have known I mean, I didn't even know to ask when I was first diagnosed about these things. So
Yeah, I like to research, and I was a surgical coordinator, so I like the medical field, but not when I'm the patient. Let's put it that way,
Mary,
but
Mary Lou, do you get emails from ANCAN?
yes,
Okay, so they have your email then
yes,
already.
they do. They do.
And do we
Yeah.
have you on the blood cancers list?
I don't know.
Okay, let me go in our system and check.
Yeah.
Mary Lou, are you on a laptop?
No, I'm on my phone.
Oh, then it
Yeah.
wouldn't be easy for you to, in the chat, you could send me your email or Alexa, but if you're on your phone, that's not so easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on the phone.
Okay, so,
I can send you my email on your other site,
okay,
Kicking Cancer to Heal. Yeah,
okay.
I'll do that. So yeah, they should have my email.
Yeah,
But
Jerry, now that you're into shoes, you may want to join Kicking Cancer and Heels too.
Just like me and
Especially since he
Ron.
likes to shop now too.
Exactly.
yeah.
Mary Lou, thank you so much for sharing and being here.
Yes, thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, we'll be here for you. And
Okay.
I'm not back at, if we ever happen to be at Dana-Farber, you'll be there a lot, but you probably won't
Yeah.
be able to see anyone for part of that time. But I'll let you know when sometimes I'm there a lot more than I think I will be, that I don't plan on being, but I don't think I'm back right now, and fingers crossed, until May.
Till May. Wow, that's great.
I think May is my wait a minute. I could be maybe April. I have to
Yeah.
look. But I may have like a dermatologist appointment there sometime in between. And anyway, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
There.
All right.
But you're going through a lot. What are you doing to take care of yourself?
Not much. Praying. Praying. Yeah. But I don't have any symptoms. I have no fatigue. If I didn't know I had crazy blood counts, I would not even know that I had anything wrong with me.
You said you had a feeling though.
I had a feeling that the MGUS wasn't correct, that something was off because of my blood counts, But I tap dance and I do things. So I'm just living life right now. I know after the stem cell transplant, it may be a different life, but you know,
But you can get back to life eventually. If it wasn't, Jerry, if it wasn't for the COVID times, would you, and you're already back to doing your bicycling, you said, would you, if it wasn't for the strange times we live in, would you be back to doing more things right now?
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Well, not during cold and flu season. That wouldn't be. But anyway, for winter. But yeah, in spring and summer. I mean, I do a lot of stuff, but I just do everything outside.
Yeah. Jerry, I have a crazy question to ask.
Ah.
When you have what do we allogeneic stem cell transplant,
Mm-hmm.
can you no longer go out in the sun?
No, you don't want to go out. You want to go on Amazon and buy SPF 50 because you're going to want to coat yourself totally because
Call
you're very, very
Costco.
susceptible to skin cancer. You
Get a
gotta
pallet.
get a really good. Go to Consumer Reports and the best sunscreen you can get and use that all the time.
So bathe in it. Yeah, because
Yeah, I
we're
mean, I go out and
fortunate.
ride in the winter just on my face, and I'll use it on my face, even if it's a cloudy day in the winter.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just
We're
I
fortunate to have a
have
beach house, and
armbands.
I'm just
I
wondering if
wear
I'm going to be able
armbands,
to use it.
no
Sorry,
short
Jerry, I'm sorry.
sleeves,
No short sleeves. I know you have to
no
wear
short
long
sleeves.
sleeves.
No, I mean, I do shorts, but I don't sit out in the sun.
Yeah. Yeah.
You protection, you'll probably be able to in those lightweight clothes that help protect you from the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Jerry,
I'm a beach lover. Huh.
That's over.
I'm a beach lover. We have a place at the beach in Connecticut, and that's where
so
we
why
spend the summer.
we should all be careful anyway in the sun, but
Yes.
what particularly so with stem cell? Because you're like a baby?
No, because I think because of graft versus host disease, right, Jerry?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's you're just you're sky. It's sky high. You need to protect. When I bicycle, I have armbands I wear with short sleeve shirts with a complete SPF 90 on my arms and everything, and my hands are covered, hat, everything.
Oh, now that'll be different for me.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I didn't ever have to really. I mean, I didn't lay out in the sun all the time and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I
you
know
definitely have to do that.
I know someone else who had stem cell transplant, had graft versus host disease. And Mary Lou, I don't know if this will make you feel any better. And I also don't know if they're more of a boat lover or beach lover, but he and his family bought a home on Cape Cod and
Hmm.
live there year round now. They actually moved out of Boston and moved there. And that was, after, while he was still having that. So yeah, I guess if you're careful and like Jerry was saying, maybe have one of those big, I don't know what you call them. I started seeing them last year on the beach, but they're almost like a cabana.
Canopy, like a big canopy.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm
But
always
there's
under
one.
an umbrella, but you still get the rays from the reflection off the sand, you
Take it to
know.
the Japanese. When I was in Hawaii, I've been to Hawaii like a bunch of times, and you always see the Japanese on the golf course, the males and the females, and they're all covered.
Yep.
It's like being in Saudi Arabia
That's why they have beautiful skin.
in Hawaii because
Just
they're
think of
totally
this.
covered.
Oh my gosh, look who rolled in.
He's muted.
We can't.
Unmute yourself, Lynn.
Now, Lynn had COVID last month.
Huh.
His microphone must have COVID.
I've been fortunate. I haven't had it.
No, neither have
All,
we. I haven't either.
all
I
right.
call myself the virgin because
Yeah.
I'm the only one who hasn't had it.
I
The
thought it
guys
was because of I thought it was because of my good immune system.
Could be. Lynn?
I'm here.
he's
Wow.
there.
How are
I'm
you
hearing the
feeling?
I'm hearing the dog is in the background barking. All right, that's enough. Hush.
You shouldn't talk to
Oh,
your wife like that, Lynn.
what?
I was kidding you. So you shouldn't talk to your wife like that.
He needs some hush puppies.
Yeah, it's a terrier. He gets excited when we're watching TV. They put
It's mostly
animals put animals in the commercials, and he's jumping up and down, and he can hear y'all even though I'm wearing the earphones. So,
Wow.
well,
Oh,
I went to the hospital today and had a KUB. Does anybody know what a KUB is?
no.
Is it 2 rows or 3 rows?
Is it what?
SUV.
That's KUB, Kilo United Bravo. KUB it stands for kidney, urinary,
Urinary
urethra,
and bladder.
and bladder. Bladder,
Yep.
yeah. Anyway, I have an appointment tomorrow with my urologist, a 6-month checkup, and they called me yesterday and said we noticed that you've got some kidney stones that were noted on your CT scan last year. We want a KUB X-ray. So I begrudgingly went and had that done. Then it occurred to me that I wonder what my lymph nodes look like and how well they'll see them. And because I've been off of medication since March, been off for 10 months, and uh, my lymph nodes that have gotten large are all internal. So whether they'll see any of that or not. But my original diagnosis was prompted by enlarged lymph nodes detected on a chest X-ray. So we shall see.
well, let's hope they don't see any.
Yeah, yeah. Certainly hope not. Well, or if they're anyway, I'll ask to have the information so I can share it with my oncologist next month when
So
I
you're,
go for my 6-month checkup.
But it's not an ultrasound that you had, right?
Say that again, Barbell.
Was it? It was not an ultrasound,
No, it was an X-ray.
an X-ray. I don't know if they see them there. They do the ultrasound. They can see the lymph nodes. X-ray? I don't think so.
so it wasn't a painful procedure.
No, it wasn't painful other than I walked way back into the bowels of the hospital and then trying to find my way out. One of the exits looks like it went nowhere. I was about to go outside and I thought there was just a wall there, and I thought, am I fixing, do I have to crawl over that wall to get to the parking lot, or that I'm going to go out this door and it'll be one of those doors that you can go out, but you can't come back in.
So you didn't have
So
to scale any walls.
I retreated and kept following, looking for signs that said exit and making decisions which way to go, and eventually got out. But
How
I was
many,
pretty tough.
sorry, what?
Well, you want to ask me how many what, Michelle?
How long did it take you to get out of there?
Well, I had to go in a waiting line to get through, get permission to go sit in the waiting room. And then when I went and sat in the waiting room, I had to wait to be called to come and sign my name on some paperwork that I didn't see. It was on a screen, and the guy just told me what it said and said, sign here on this pad. And then he took me to the radiology department where I talked to the lady at the front, and she told me to go sit down. They'd call me. So I was in three waiting lines before it was over with. But the X-ray itself, that doesn't take long at all. They put a sheet over you and tell you to drop your drawers to about the mid thighs so we can get an X-ray, or drop your trousers. You don't have to drop my drawers, and and then they say cover back up. And of course, they've seen people's underwear before. It's no excitement to them. So anyway, I tried to be modest about it. It's kind of like when I go see the dermatologist, they just kind of yawn when they look at me. But the last time I wore shorts when I went to the dermatologist, I said, you probably can see everything you need to see. I'll take my shirt off too, and I got shorts on. So
So you didn't wear your geranimals.
my geranimals. What are geranimals?
Oh,
Is
they're
that
like things that kids wear that have little animals on them.
like
pajamas
pajamas with animals on them?
Actually, they're clothing with tags on them, so you match a monkey to a monkey, and then your outfit will match. That's what
Okay.
it is. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
Mary Lou, will you have to, speaking of which, okay, so Lynn, will you have to have a bone marrow biopsy for anytime soon to see if your SLs come back, or X-rays imaging enough for the lymph nodes?
I think the only thing that's scheduled right now is just blood work.
Oh, good.
So I don't know with SLL how effective blood work is. I'm not going to volunteer for a bone marrow biopsy.
I don't blame you.
But if somebody else wants to go in my place for that, I'll come and hold your hand. My first bone marrow biopsy, my wife held the trash can while I threw up in it.
Hearing you say that makes me feel better, in that I found it so unbearable.
I go under. There is no, I've been through 8 of these. I'm like, my pelvis is like Swiss cheese with because you get osteoporosis from the chemo and everything as well. But yeah.
I stopped counting, but yeah, they don't give you anything. And then I've learned recently that if you I nearly begged, but if you, I guess I didn't beg enough or ask the right questions, but I do hear they'll put you in twilight now at Dana-Farber.
That's what I do. That's what I do always
That's,
now.
I did too. My first bone marrow biopsy, I said, no, I want conscious sedation, please. And it was great, but I don't know if the insurance is going to pay for it every 3 months to have one, you
They
know?
will. They will. They will.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, they
just,
will.
they didn't offer it. I asked again that, it's like, this is so painful. Eventually I was told by someone I had never met before that it's not painful, it's your nerves. And I said,
It's your what?
it wasn't, she said, it's not painful, it's your nerves. You must be a nervous person. I said,
Bullshit.
I'm very common crisis.
Bullshit.
And that's when I
When I
said,
first got mine, I didn't get an anesthesia, and they had the thing. They said, would you like to donate to our research stuff? I said, sure. I'm figuring we'll just take half of it. Oh no,
they went
you get
back.
it twice
Oh,
Oh,
geez.
oh,
without anesthesia. I'm sitting there.
Yeah,
Yeah, at MD
Determined to get that
Anderson,
patient in that bed.
at MD Anderson, they
Can't
call it
move, or they got to do it again.
at MD Anderson they call it bilateral bone marrow biopsy. That means they're
why?
doing two, one on each side, uh,
really?
and they put me to sleep for it per my request. My wife insisted. She said I was there when he had his first one, so and that's what I need to tell them at UT Southwest. I said, what's the deal? MD Anderson put me to sleep. What's the problem? Y'all are part of the same hospital system, and um, why can't y'all put me to sleep? And the person that said it's just your nerves, that person's never had one.
Well, I did say, have you ever had one? I did say that. And this look of fright came on their face, right? They're probably afraid I was going to try to give them one. I don't know. But
You gotta say, show me your scar.
I wonder if Ativan would work just to relax you enough to have it. No?
started
No,
giving me one.
no,
And no, it
no.
helped a smidgen, but really no. It's the
No.
pain. It's the
Yeah.
pain. Well, Mary Lou, you've had one, you said. And
I
you
had
have
one under conscious sedation, so I don't know anything about pain.
I
Well,
don't know.
Yeah.
conscious sedation, they give you an amnesia drug, and you don't remember screaming and hollering for your mother.
No, that's
So
it.
That's right. Just the
You know,
whiteness that
my
comes over you.
my
Oh,
sister
man.
had, is that when they give you like I don't know, gas like they do at the dentist or something like they used to?
No, it's when you have a colonoscopy, the same type of medication they give you for that. Yeah.
they gave me propofol at MD
Propofol,
Anderson.
best stuff ever.
That's the Michael Jackson drug that
It's right. I
That'll
can
kick
see
your
why I
ass
was
out.
hooked.
Oh,
it's the
Absolutely.
best sleep I've ever had. But unfortunately, it woke me up. I'd only
Yeah.
been asleep for 15 minutes, but it was good deep sleep.
it was only
Yeah.
15 minutes. And when you woke up, were you lethargic or ready to, like, could you
Well,
drive?
well, they put me in a
Oh,
wheelchair
he can't drive.
and said, your next appointment is down the hall. You're going to have a CAT scan. So that was at MD Anderson. My wife rolled me around to where there's going to the Maze Clinic. You go across a skywalk that's about a quarter of a mile or more, and so we got on a little transport buggy and went around there, and I got off there and walked on to the CAT scan. So, and that was
And then
probably
have signs
roughly 10 minutes.
everywhere. Let a staff member know if you had sedation today. In the bathrooms, at the check-in. So.
Really.
Hmm.
When I have my colonoscopies, I go out for breakfast after.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm wide awake and ready to go, you know.
That's very good. I know after mine, my husband had to leave. There's a Whole Foods next door, and we were going shopping, and I couldn't make up my mind what I wanted to get. So he kind of said, "Here, honey," leaned me up against a wall on the produce section and left me there for a while. It's like, don't buy anything.
Yeah.
And on my way out, the nurse, the paper said, do not go online shopping. We found that people tend to buy too much after being under. Like that's on their instructions. It was pretty.
Really? Yeah.
Or Belle, in Germany, do they put you under for a bone marrow biopsy?
Only a local sedation, but I had he was very skilled. I had no issues.
You had
I
sedation?
laid down for half an hour, which I had to pass the B&B, and then I walked down to get the CT scan.
Yeah, they didn't even give me a piece of leather to bite on.
Mm.
That would have been helpful, I think.
No, I was
Chisel that
talking to the
chisel and
doctor
break
for
your
a
bone.
procedure to keep my mind off, because if you concentrate on it, then your muscles cramp, and I think you feel a more pain then too. I try to distract myself. I was talking to you about CLL and medication. I don't know what I talked. It kept my mind off.
I
It's
had what
bone.
they
It's
I had what
bone.
they call a vagal
Take it down.
response. I began perspiring profusely, and my blood pressure began dropping, and then I became very nauseated. So, I mean, part of that, I'm sure, is nervousness. The pain, though, pain goes with the vagal response. So,
Is that from the vagus nerve or not?
Yeah.
it's the same thing involved with you when you faint.
If they hit a nerve, that's not so good.
That's not
Well, there's
so
all
good.
kinds of nerves in your bones. I mean,
So, Al, you said you didn't have anything to share this evening?
No,
Yeah, I need to get a good mole recipe. You have any of those to share?
I might. I'll have to look.
Okay, that would be good. Chin?
What kind of recipe was that?
So where we went to eat, Rick and I had dishes in mole sauce. It has chocolate in it.
Yep.
yum.
Oh,
But it's
Love it.
but it's not sweet. It's I mean
Right.
it's like on chicken,
chocolate.
but it's like
Could be
on
a little bitter,
yes,
but it's
and
excellent.
yeah, it's like it was on chicken. I think I got it on.
Yeah.
But yes,
That's
it,
good.
It's
And
probably
again, it depends who makes it because I've had some that's mildly sweet.
this one was
you
bitter.
could probably choose between bitter chocolate and nut chocolate.
Maybe, and also this is it cardamom? Is that what we figured out? Maybe that was in it or cumin.
Cumin.
This one might have had just a touch too much in there, but that makes it more
Turmeric.
bitter.
Turmeric.
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 Good for you. So Jim, did you have anything you wanted to share?
No, I don't.
Mary Lou, do you happen to be a veteran or or
Oh, yeah.
your
My
spouse?
husband, no, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
all right. Because Jim's leads a veterans group as well, and also he knows on healthcare
Ah,
what to do with that. So, well, we can't help you there, but as far as the other, they also have at Dana-Farber, if you do have any questions on insurance, that same place I told you about to go on the first floor to ask about accommodations. They also have in there, they were supposed to be getting them in. I don't know if I don't know what they're called. I'm calling it a patient navigator, but it's not that. But it's if you have questions about that, about your insurance, I would wait and see though, because I think you should be okay with your Blue Cross and
Depends. I'm
yeah,
telling you, it depends.
on what the medication. Yeah, it does depend on that, but also every state's different with Blue Cross.
yeah.
That I know. They each have their own plans.
Well, I think when I meet with the transplant team, we're going to have a team of people. So I think you meet with a social worker, financial advocate, a whole bunch of doctors. So I guess there's a team.
Oh, that's great that they have a finance. That was what it was, financial advocate. And they
Yeah.
did those when I started treatment in 2015. So
Yeah.
they,
Long time.
And the deal is you want to do that sooner than later for the simple reason being is they run out of funds
some of them,
in certain programs, and then you have to wait a year or something.
Oh, for the drug
So
program, you mean?
yeah, for a program based on your drugs, your meds, if you need a
Okay.
program.
so
Okay.
So I would
generally,
hash that out relatively quickly if they determine what they're going to give you, and then do that because that'll take you time to do that. Otherwise, it's coming. The copays on it are awful for the
So
drugs.
generally speaking, almost all of the drug companies have these programs.
Okay.
And the financial, what did you call her again? A financial what?
Advocate?
Advocate should know. If they don't, let us know whatever it is. And also, the other thing is LLS, Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Every state is different with that and how much they give, but they give money to patients and treatment for things that everyone's different. Sometimes it will cover transportation. Sometimes it will, they have, I don't know if they call them grants or I don't even know, but I know it is, the amounts are different per state. And I don't know if it's different per year depending on the funding in each state, but that's another place.
Okay. Yes, I just got some booklets from them on MDS, and they put a booklet in there about what they offer as far as housing and medication, and so
Same thing for
I
the look at the BMI group as well.
BMI.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, a lot of research.
anyone else have anything? Lynn, is there anything you wanted to share? So what do you have to do with your kidney stones now? Do you have to go in the hospital or what?
Well, MD Anderson detected the kidney stones 10 years ago when they did their first CAT scans on me. And so they're not giving me any problem. They're just kind of lurking in the kidney. But 20 years ago, a little bit over 20 years ago, I had a round with kidney stones, and anybody that's ever had them know that that's a painful experience. And I had a procedure called lithotripsy, and it's using like sonic waves
Sound
Yep.
waves. Yeah.
to
Yeah, to break it up.
blast the stones, and it was successful for me. And they give you Mary Lou, I think, mentioned some type of drug, maybe morphine or something like that. It's when you start, sounds like there's a bug zapper going on, and with each time you this bug zapper goes off, you feel a jolt to your body, sharp pain, and so they're giving you something by IV to counter that. And of course, after it was all over with, I was just wasted. I went out to the car, and my wife was driving, and she promptly drove to a restaurant. And I told her, I said, I can't go in and eat. I can't even keep my eyes open. So she went in and had a nice breakfast while I stayed in the car and took a nap.
She went and left you?
She's one of my best caregivers.
Good thing you live in
And
Texas.
that was over 20 years
You're
ago.
frozen out here.
That was
He's a keeper.
Yeah.
I was just thinking.
yeah. She's put up with me for 53 years. She's a sweetheart. So and you're right. I did have COVID. I tested positive back. I think it was the second January 2nd, and a week later I retested, and I was still positive, but I had not run fever in about 5 days, and was feeling a lot better. And so I heard from my doctor's nurse at UT Southwest, and she said their experience was a lot of times the testing positive and negative was off and on for some time period after you're recovering. And so I've never retested again. I have never gotten a negative test, but I feel perfectly fine. Don't have any problems that continue. So
That's good. You're not taking your temperature every
and no, I'm not taking my temperature. Michelle, how about you? How are you doing from your COVID experience?
Tony Burbell and I were talking about that earlier. I'm good. I feel good. It did take me a little while to get, I didn't realize it at the time. I thought I was fine, but looking back, it took me a while to get back. to feeling as peppy as I normally do. And I still have, but I think I don't know if it was from COVID or I had a sinus infection a few weeks ago, but I seem to have like, I don't know, a runny nose still, but I think that might have been from the sinus infection. But then I'm like, or have I had it since back then? I don't even know anymore, but I'm good. You know, I just went to a great conference that recharged me. Alexa went last year and it was in Tucson and it was at a fabulous place that also helps recharge you. So I'm good. I'm ready to take the world by storm again.
And what's the latest on your treatment? What's going on there?
I'm in a holding pattern on a calibrutinib, and I get my monthly IVIG infusion still. So that's just the same. Nothing's changed there.
So you're still taking a calibrutinib twice a day? You're having problems with headaches?
Only in the beginning, you know, like a lot of people. And it's easy to solve with some Tylenol and caffeine, but it goes away within a few weeks.
How about sore muscles and joints and muscle cramps? Any issues?
I had that with ibrutinib, but not. I do have neuropathy in my hands from a calibrutinib. It went away when I was off ibrutinib, and it's been pretty bad with the acalabrutinib, but I still, you know, and I see it mostly when I'm trying to, if I use my laptop too long, if I try, and I have to post for some of my work when I post online on this thing. And also when I lift weights, it hurts to hold the weight. So I don't know, yeah. I keep hoping that'll help get rid of it, but it hasn't.
How about brittle nails and frizzy hair? I'm not saying your hair is frizzy, but that's what happened. I had really brittle nails and my hair got real wild.
You know what you do is you take biotin. I'm taking 5,000 milligrams of biotin, and it's fixed my nails, man. My nails would tear. I mean, they were a mess. And you can see what it did for my hair.
It's working great.
Didn't quite work there. Didn't work there.
Fuzzy hair.
Tell you what,
for sure.
It really helps. It helps your skin and it helps your nails.
Well, yeah, I was taking it. So biotin does help, except from ibrutinib. I still have a nail that never grew back correctly. Are yours growing back now?
Yeah, doing fine, and they're looking strong. And Judy Williams has just joined us from Fort Worth.
Judy, you joined it. We're soon to be signing off, but we can say hello and see how you are. How are you?
She has to unmute.
I think Judy had an appointment last week with Dr. Wan, I believe.
Actually, today.
Oh.
I went today, and we're going to start the pyro. Yeah. I'm going to, can't get it today because they had to order it. So probably go pick it up tomorrow. And then we'll, he said I wasn't quite as bad as he thought I would have been with my CT scan and things, but we decided to go on and start treatment.
How long have you been off treatment?
Since I guess about July of 2020.
Wow.
I took a calibrutinib for about 2.5 months, but that was coming off of my chemo and the venetoclax, and my neutrophils just kept tanking. So we stopped that, and I haven't been on anything since then.
So you've had a treatment holiday then.
Yeah, quite a while.
That always feels good.
Yeah.
Lynn's on his right now.
Yep, yep. We see each other monthly.
So Judy, what medicine are they starting you on?
On the Jaypirica.
The what?
The pirtobrutinib.
Pirtobrutinib?
Yeah, pirtobrutinib. Yeah.
Okay.
And with anything else or just that?
Just that. I asked him about whether we would do, he said that nothing really indicated doing with the others yet. I mean, he said the research wasn't there to pair that with anything really. So
yeah, I am really curious. You're the first person I know personally who is going on this type of BTK inhibitor, the new type. So I'm really anxious to learn, like we were just talking about, side effects and things. I'm really curious and how quickly it works. And how are your blood counts right now?
they were okay today. Well, not okay. I had 11.2 on my
Hemoglobin.
red blood count, red blood count, and then white blood count was not too elevated. I think it was, can't remember what it was, but my platelets had gone down to like 138. So I mean, they're not bad. So I'm hoping that the side effects won't.
Well, there is a study at MD Anderson with a pirtobrutinib, a threefold study with obinutuzumab and venetoclax as well, and they said they didn't have any side effects of pirtobrutinib.
Well, I put something on the Facebook CLL page and asked if anybody had side effects, and 3 people responded and they said they had no side effects at all.
Oh, I saw that too.
Yeah, so I'm hoping none.
And your CAT scan, because your numbers aren't so bad, did your CAT scan show a lot of lymph node involvement?
Yeah, they were not, the ones that they had seen on the previous one were not really enlarged too much, but I had more involvement. I had more lymph node involvement, and then my neck is have pretty good bit in that, and my spleen was like 13.8.
Not too bad, but enlarged.
A little enlarged. And I had some spots on my liver, which he's thinking may be the CLL too. So hopefully that'll take care. And then I have a couple of nodes on my lung. One was a 7 millimeter node, which is had that on my right lung and had a wedge taken out before. So in 6 months, I'll have another CT scan on that.
Is that from CLL?
I don't know. I had one before, and we did the biopsy, and it turned out to be benign. So I'm hoping that whether this will just be a watch. I hate to go through that surgery again, because this is.
They can infiltrate all organs, the CLL cells. Blood vessels are everywhere.
Right. Yeah. So I'm hoping maybe that this takes care of those 2 problems.
Yeah, it might.
So,
I was trying to, when they pop in the neck, I remember saying to my husband, I said, look at how smooth my neck looks, even though it's all lumpy, right? And I said, now I have an excuse. If I have wrinkles in my neck, it's because it got all stretched out because of these nodes. And that's my story, right? Like,
yeah. Well, everything seems to be on the left side, and that's kind of strange. And my one of the things that did show was that my bones were having demineralization, so we're starting back on some calcium. I'd been taking D3, but not calcium since my last treatment. So
calcium, you're taking just supplements, or do you get
a supplement? And then I'll probably have a bone density test and see how that's going and decide. I got to see the regular doctor next week, so she'll probably order that.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. It reminded me. I continue to forget to remind Dana-Farber, I have osteoporosis, and over a year ago, I was supposed to start on something. And they forget, I forget to ask because I'm more interested in my
GP can do
CLL.
it though. Your GP
Yeah,
can
well,
do it.
I
started doing it too. They came back and I got a bone. They said, we never did a bone marrow test on you, and I got osteoporosis and all that. And so they give you basically an injection of busulfamine or something. It's a bone building material, and I get one of those every 6 months, and then they see, and if that doesn't work, then they give you the really good drug. It's just an injection every so often, but it's expensive as a second line of treatment.
My husband took the once a month, and that's a pain
Right.
to remember to do that. And then we went to the reclass, which is a once a year or every 2 years infusion. So I'm hoping that if I do something, it'll do that, because I hate, you have to take it and then you have to sit up. My sister-in-law does one every week. I mean, she takes once a week, and you have to get up early and take it, and then you can't lay down or anything like that after you take it. You have to sit up. So it's kind of.
My mom used to take that one. I remember that. But the one, Jerry, it's the same one you're talking about, was going to be every 6 months. And then they were going to see after a certain amount of time, you don't have to continue.
Bone density test again, see if it did anything. If it didn't, then you go to a new drug that's very effective, but it's expensive. You know, if it isn't working, but the insurance companies make you jump through those hoops for at least a year to see if you get any improvement. And if you do have improvement, they'll keep you on that until you don't get improvement.
So you're saying there's one better?
Yes, but you got to go through. You know, it's secondary. It's like me for Jakafi. I had to go through all the cortisone and all that stuff before I could get a Jakafi to work, because it didn't work. First lines don't work, and so the second line is where the good stuff is. But you have to go through the hurdles.
Michelle, real quick, because I know it's getting late for a lot of people. I was just wondering if we had any questions for the group before we have our meeting next week.
So we have a webinar. We're going to be having a blood cancer webinar later in the year, but we were considering having it on have a specialist come on to explain what the various tests are that are used in blood cancers and what they mean and their importance. But then we realized there are so many different tests because of all the different
kind of blood cancers.
Yes. So we decided we'd ask each of you what determines, like, what tests do you get on an ongoing basis, and also what are the diagnostic tests, to see if there are any that we all have in common, and if not, the ones that there are, to make sure we get someone in who can discuss all of it. Do you think that would be helpful to patients to know what it is and what they mean? Like what to look out for and what to ask about? I mean, Mary Lou, you knew already, but I think you're a bit of an anomaly here. So, Al, what kinds of blood work do you need for MPNs?
Well, how I was diagnosed with just my white and red blood cells, and the platelets were all elevated. That's how I found out. But the reason I had the lab work done is because I was going through some neuropathy in my feet that was just killing me.
Huh.
So a CBC then.
But did they do further testing to?
Well, once after they found out that my numbers were elevated, then I had the bone marrow biopsy.
I think that's going to be a common thing here, maybe.
But
yeah.
remember a while back, and Sally even brought this up, and I read about it in some of the other groups, that there's another test they do just from doing lab work that they could find stuff out now instead of having a bone marrow biopsy.
Well, we're learning that that doesn't work. For instance, that doesn't work in multiple myeloma for I think staging. Well, it's not accepted. It's only accepted.
Yeah, it's not approved for multiple myeloma yet.
It's only approved for certain blood cancers, the clonoSEQ.
Okay.
But there are also blood tests that can tell, but they're not as accurate to the same degree
As a bone marrow.
And also clonoSEQ's the closest, but it's still like, I have to remember this correctly one of these days. Let's just say that clonoSEQ, and I'm making this up, is maybe to the 100th, a bone marrow biopsy would be to the 1000th degree, but that's not accurate. I'm off, I think, somewhere in here on a decimal point, but there is a difference. Okay, Jerry, would it be a bone marrow biopsy or something else that could determine where you are, or also your diagnosis?
I'm done. Hopefully I'm done with that to where they don't have to go at me with their damn finger drill.
So what kind of diagnostic tests are done to
I just have
determine?
state of blood tests now. They just come back and they, I just came back. I go every 2 months, and I just came back from it maybe 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
And the doctor came back, and when the nurses tell you, you know it's good, because typically nurses won't tell you what the diagnosis is. The doctor does. But they came back and said my blood was fantastic. My blood was fantastic.
Oh,
But it was a bone marrow biopsy at first, the initial.
Yeah, and then every I go through blood tests where they actually, and so like my neutrophils are everything's great. I mean, so they came back and said, that's excellent. And that's actually the first time in 3 years that my oncologist came back and said, good job.
oh.
Okay, I think I know a different way to ask this. Did anyone else have a different test, either in addition to a bone marrow biopsy, or they did not, a bone marrow biopsy was not involved? If you've had a bone marrow biopsy, we're definitely going to be talking about that. But did you have a test in addition to one, or did you have a different test?
Let me throw out some names of some. FISH,
Sure.
a FISH test. Flow cytometry.
Okay. I had.
Yeah, they did all. I think didn't they do all of that for the bone marrow to get the genetic lineage and all that stuff, all the genetic markers and everything.
Yeah.
So how many people have had FISH? Raise your hand.
I just had a FISH.
I did.
Yes, FISH.
Okay.
FISH, and the nice thing, it hadn't changed. So,
Mary Lou, what about for you?
I had FISH done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about flow cytometry?
Yep.
I had the flow cytometry done quite often.
Well, you can use it as a diagnosis, but you can also use it as an MRD test at the end of the treatment. That's why it is an important test.
Okay.
I would really like to know what the difference is between flow cytometry and clonoSEQ. Is there only a difference in the amount of cells they test, or are there other differences?
I didn't hear the beginning of your question. Say that again.
There's another method, clonoSEQ.
Yeah, we were just saying.
I know it tests in 1 million cells, and the other one does, I think, up to 100,000. And I wanted to know if there are differences in what you can test, or is it only the amount of cells they test, that makes the difference?
So from what I understand is a bone marrow biopsy tests more, it can test more things. So, sorry, that's my medication alarm. Say I have a country for you both in Texas. I have some C&W music there. Blake Shelton, I don't know if you still consider him country or not.
Yeah, of course.
So I know bone marrow biopsy can detect more things, and maybe maybe it is because it goes to a deeper degree, a deeper depth. I'm not sure, but it does pick up a lot more. For instance, if someone maybe has a transformation, or if someone has an additional cancer, blood cancer. Mary Lou, how did they find your MDS? Was it through bone marrow biopsy or through
Bone
blood?
marrow biopsy, yes. I had it done locally, and the slides were sent to Dana-Farber, and that's how that was picked up.
Well, thank goodness they didn't make you do one there too.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
Okay.
And I had that next generation testing
Yes,
done too.
I was going to ask if anyone has had NGS for
Yeah.
your.
Yeah.
So do we have a show of hands? I know Mary Lou said yes. So did
Yeah.
anyone have genomic or genetic testing?
I had
Yeah.
genetic.
I
Okay,
did.
Jerry did, Judy did, and of course Jim, Captain Jim, we know you did. Okay, so
Well, genetic testing, that can mean so. I mean, like
I mean, a lot of.
cytometry can note genetic mutations, as an example.
right.
You mean, but there are also other kinds of genetic testing, which is a panel, right? Just there's.
Yeah, so with also genomic testing, they're testing the actual samples because that's something we talked about over our last meetings. I was just curious, and that was interesting. Only like 50% had that, so that might be something we want to talk about.
I think that's also people are curious probably about
They're
it.
very curious, and Jim can tell you in prostate cancer,
Right.
it's a hot topic.
It is a hot topic.
Hot
Okay,
topic.
with the germline versus the somatic.
Yep.
And that's
So the
genomic.
germline's essentially the stuff that is passed to you down.
hmm
Okay, and the somatic is the things that you do on your own.
Well, and I think like the prostate cancer, they always talk about having your sons, test it.
Right, right.
Yes. The
But
germline.
Yeah,
the CLL, supposedly is not familial, whatever. So,
right.
So I got a question. All this other testing you're talking about, is this testing they do through a bone marrow biopsy also?
They do
No.
it on a bone marrow biopsy. That's what they do it on.
the genetic one I had, you spit on a little valve.
Yeah, a lot of germline genetic are a saliva test, and
Right,
then
it's a spit test, a blood test.
yeah, sometimes they're blood as well.
So yeah, some are, to answer your question, all of the above.
Yeah.
Spit, blood, bone marrow. I was just thinking, so that would be interesting too. Maybe, just a little note that some of these they're done in different ways.
hmm
And also bone marrow biopsy is both the tissue, I don't know if you call it tissue, Barbella, you might know the better name, as well as they suction out the liquid in your bone marrow.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact medical terms though for both of those. Tissue, is it tissue? And I don't know for the bone marrow, but we'll find that out from a
Yes, we will.
specialist.
I don't know, but it hurts. It hurts.
Yeah.
Anyone willing to be like filmed? I'm kidding. Having their bone marrow biopsy. I had my husband take pictures once of the different steps, and I remember Patient Power thought it was too barbaric to show in a program.
Well, I had my bone marrow done back January 10th, and I always do it under sedation, and it was probably the best one I've had because I did not feel I had told them, I said, the other times you really haven't sedated me enough that I've really known it. This time I didn't know it at all. So that was a good thing. So I didn't feel it.
So I think we
the other
got some really good information, Michelle. So
Thank you for,
Thank you,
had that-
everyone.
thank you. I had that on my mind before our meeting, and then once we got talking, I had forgotten. Thank you very much for bringing that up.
Of course.
And Al, yeah, if you think of any others, but you had the bone marrow biopsy too then. Yeah, that's a commonality, it seems. And by the way, Jim, did you have to have one of those for prostate cancer, or is this just a blood cancer thing?
Uh,
I think it's just blood cancer. My husband never had it with prostate.
what? Wait a minute.
Bone
What?
marrow.
now?
Bone marrow
No,
biopsy.
no.
He had scans, but never.
Right, the scans, okay, and a biopsy of a lymph
Yeah.
node
Yeah.
besides.
You know, we didn't even talk about biopsies for some. I don't know if we'd want to get into that as well, because
That's another. That should be probably another whole.
Yeah, that's almost another topic.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Spread them out. Spread them out. Don't.
So that does seem like it would create interest. We just have to determine now if we can, as opposed to getting a specialist for each, one that can speak on, or a few, maybe as opposed to a bunch.
Mhm.
The difference between a few and a bunch. I'm getting tired.
Yes. Yes.
I wanted to just say one thing on the J. Purica. My insurance is covering it.
Oh, yay. What do you have for insurance?
I have the retired teachers insurance and Medicare, which is a deal. So
Thank goodness. Well, you know,
Yeah.
what's the,
paying $48 a month. I mean,
Oh,
that's peanuts
Wow.
compared to what it costs.
what would that be a month? What does that go for a month? Do you know?
Well, I looked online, and the first thing I saw was like 21,000, and then I saw
True.
somebody said with a coupon or whatever, you could get it like 7,000. So I felt very fortunate to get it for $48.
Wow.
That's great. Judy, let us
Are
know
you
how
a
you,
retired teacher, Judy?
Are
you a retired teacher?
37 years.
Me too. We have
Wow.
another teacher in the club. Lou is was also a teacher.
My wife's a teacher.
Who?
My wife's a teacher, 35 years. But
Oh,
she
you
doesn't
too.
retire.
How was the teachers' meeting?
Is anyone
Well,
know
I
how
taught part-time on college campus.
you did? Wow. What'd you teach?
I taught a transistor class, electronics type courses. I taught advanced DC circuit analysis, which involved solving simultaneous equations, things like that. And of course, today they use these calculators that all you have to know is how to use the calculator and set things up.
Wow.
Compared to when I was in school using a slide rule, it's a lot easier.
right.
So
Excuse me,
I-
Lynn. Lynn, today they're not called part-time instructors. I was one too. Now you are, I believe, you were, or you are now a adjunct professor.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes,
I
they
also
have these
also
great
taught
terms.
digital electronics, which is a fun class too.
Yeah.
So
maybe you can give us classes sometime.
sure. We'll start with binary math. We'll start with that.
Yeah.
We'll be getting homework. So
Reverse Polish notation. How about that one?
Okay.
Oh, that's
Yep.
a good one.
Yep. You need a Hewlett Packard calculator.
Yeah, with the slides. Remember the slides on the
Yeah.
HP calculators? Where I had to program it. So I programmed the magnetic cards and you run it into HP. And
Judy, what were you going to say?
I just said I was elementary all that time, not.
So
Well,
I used to, I don't know if I'd be considered adjunct because it was extremely part-time, but every time there was a new graduate class, a new graduate school class at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. They'd bring me in to do crisis drills for crisis communications for them.
Yeah.
So, and I was the first woman who's taught in their graduate school. And that wasn't, well, it was long ago now, but I mean, it wasn't like you would think there would have been one by then. I mean, we're talking about like 2004. So there probably should have been some by then anyway, but
Yeah.
that's my only foray into teaching. But it was very interesting being the only woman. I would get love notes. It was ridiculous. They were grown men. You know? So
I never got any love notes.
no.
I didn't either.
No.
Get some from the little kids.
Did you, Judy?
Yeah, I would get some.
That's so
Here's
cute.
an apple. Take it to your teacher.
Yep, I had some sweeties, and then there were some that
Stinkers.
stories.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us and Lynn and Barbell about your teaching experiences.
That was
And-
interesting, definitely. I didn't know there were that many teachers on a call.
To check in on Lou and see how she is. Judy, thank you for popping on. I know it's late. You had a long day.
Well, I came home and went straight to a nap and almost forgot about it. I woke up at 6:30 after I got home.
Well, I'm glad that you let us know. And yeah, keep us posted on how you're doing.
Okay.
You're forging some new territory there,
Yep,
but it's approved. And
a little,
great.
yeah, a little scary, hopefully.
Understandable. Understandable. Mary Lou, please keep in touch.
Yes, I
Thank
will.
Yes, and our next meeting is what? It's the first Thursday in March, which is, anybody have their calendar open? I'm looking.
Probably the 1st of March.
No,
the 21 days in February.
it's the 7th because we have, yeah,
Oh, 29 days.
Sadie
Yeah.
Hawkins Day.
7th.
Yep.
So see you all on March 7th.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hope you all do well.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Right.
Bye.